Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I am Ray.
I'm Evy.
And Evy, what are we looking at today?
What are we looking at today?
Spider-Man: Far From Home. This is the 24th film of the MCU.
Wow.
It's the one that follows Endgame. It has a lot to
Right.
live up to, and it's
Right.
Peter
Yeah.
Parker's story. And we find out what's really cool about this movie. I think, or what the takeaway I got from this movie is the fact that yes, Peter Parker was one of the many heroes that got vanished or died in the blimp. But we
Yeah.
learned that Aunt May passed away. We find out most of Peter's friends passed away. That includes Flash, MJ, Betty, and I think the teachers too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and
Like,
JB Smooth is one of the teachers, I think.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So a lot of the core cast, they're all lost in the book. Because it would have been more sadder if we found out that if May Parker, is it May? Yeah, Aunt May.
Mhm.
If she didn't pass away, she had to live with that kind of guilt for 5 years. I think that would
Yeah.
be worse. But because they
Yeah.
both passed away and they both came back,
Mhm.
there's no trauma. They were both because they're working together now in tandem in this
Yeah.
movie. So that's kind of cool. Because in the Ultimates, Aunt May knows that Peter is Spider-Man, and they're really cool working together off that. And
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
because they do like a charity thing where Spider-Man comes talks to people, and they're really really
Yeah.
cool behind the scenes.
I like the new uniform.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome actually.
Yeah.
There's actually different kinds of suits. You have like the black suit, like the
Mhm.
like night monkey suit, and then you have
Yeah.
like the new suit at the near the end of the movie. So that's pretty cool. And he's
Yeah.
able to use the plane to build his own
Right.
suit, like Iron Man.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
does it bother you that they use like Iron Man technology, or do you prefer like the old school, like in the comic books and like he
I like the new stuff.
the new stuff, right? Doesn't
I
bother
like
me,
the new
right?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's cool. How about you?
I'm on the same boat. I mean, I'm a diehard fan of the original stuff, but like I think the fact that he's able to have the technology to tweak it, because I mean, they show you like if he did it like at home sewing up an outfit, it will look like the thing you see in the first movie, using like long johns or
Mhm.
sweatshirts to build his suit. This one is more catered to what he's got to do, and you also have the idea of him like using the technology to put the tracker
Yeah.
on it to do these things alter the web sheet to handle electricity. So like in
Mhm.
the cartoons, the 60s
Yeah.
cartoons, when he would
Yeah.
fight like Oil Slick Man or Electro, he would alter the webbing to handle
Mhm.
like every situation. And this gives it more of a logical thing, whereas like the stuff you can do to do that, you would require you a great deal of resources, and this kind of fills in that kind of gap.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
how'd you like the blip? Yeah, like it starts off with like a school after school recess kind of like video montage.
Mhm.
So what were your thoughts of that?
Gives you like a basis where to start from. Oh, it starts at this point. It doesn't have you guessing where where it's going to start from.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah.
No, you're right. One perspective, they look at it in terms of comedic, and then when you look at Winter Soldier and other shows, they
Yeah.
show you the dramatic side to it. Like
Yeah.
how so, but but we're all getting glimpses of the trauma as well as the cool concept of that. They have to do a repeat of the entire year, and now it's
Mhm.
the last day of school. You're on a summer vacation, and it's going to be a field trip to Europe. And so his
Mhm.
classmates
Yeah.
go to Europe, and he has these ideas where he's going to try to like meet up with Mary Jane and hopefully profess his love to her, but things get in the way. So that's the
Mhm.
the concept of this movie. It's just he doesn't always want to be Spider-Man. He just wants to go on a summer vacation with his friends and just be,
Yeah.
Peter Parker. But yet all these things happen. So that's the comedy, and that's the anchor of this movie.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
my favorite like poster scene, if I get like a screensaver shot of it, is a scene where he's in Venice, Italy, and he's on that bell tower, and he's webbing outside buildings to keep the bell tower together. He's like
Mhm.
soaking wet from the Hydro Man sequence.
Yeah.
So that visual I like very cool. I think he's a very because he's got the wet look. He's not Spider-Man. He's just Peter Parker, but like
Mhm.
he looks really really confident in his role. So I thought that was a really cool visual moment. Um, the special
Yeah.
effects. How was your view of the special effects in this movie?
I like the character, introduces himself, by kind of messing with Spider-Man's life, with, like really messing up Spider-Man's life. Yeah, with all of this high tech, I thought it was really amazing. I thought it was really well done as an entrance,
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah, so that's my view, I thought it was well done, it's like, I'm here, makes things, makes his life kind of messing it up. So, no, I really like that part, or that whole thing, like an entrance. And that's, yeah.
Well, I like Nick Fury's character because he's like, because I didn't know the term ghosting. That's I didn't know what that meant. Where he's like,
yeah, same here.
When you have call display and someone, rather than answering the phone or responding back, you just ghost them, meaning you just don't respond to them. That's kind of a cool thing. I'm learning these things every day. I like the idea that there are Easter eggs in what Nick Fury says in the movie, which kind of tells you who the character is at the end. There is a surprise ending to Nick Fury and Maria Hill that you don't see. But if you listen to some of the context, some of the dialogue about when he talks about Captain Marvel, and don't take her name in vain, kind of character line,
right.
where he snaps at him. Those are little things that kind of tell you hints, kind of like an M. Night movie, where it's like little hints that tell you what to expect at the end. But that doesn't really tell until you see the ending. There's no way you'll know until you see the ending. So, but looking back on it too, I'd like, they give you little breadcrumbs of things that like, why is it Nick Fury like more careful, or more cautious? It's the concept of going back a little bit. You have people who work with Iron Man as the enemy.
Yeah.
Like the guy who who created the VR, Barth, that we see in he's there in this movie. You find out like who created the virtual reality for Mysterio. He's the same character from the first Iron Man movie where Obadiah says, Stark was in the cave, and he built this, and how come you can't? So that same guy is in this movie. So there are throwbacks to previous movies, which I thought that was really, really cool. And if you're smart enough, not smart enough, but if you're aware enough of like who this guy is, where he's from, it's a kind of a cool Easter egg surprise for you. It's also a surprise that it connects to the VR stuff we see in Age of Ultron, where when Stark is reliving with his parents and before he dies, that whole virtual reality stuff he was at MIT giving that presentation. That VR stuff, you think Stark made it, but no, the guys who created Mysterio created that tech, and where that's coming from. So there is a callback to Iron Man movies. There's a callback to the earlier Spider movies, even the callback to Iron Man 2008. If you like yourself, who's watched everything in the course of 18 months, can actually say, oh my gosh, I remember that from this movie because I just saw this movie a few months ago. Some things will resonate with you more than if you were watching this. Like, let's say you're watching this in the course of 10 years. It's easy to forget certain things.
Sure.
But yeah, it's pretty cool how everything connects. They keep it. So, so that was really cool. So, any particular highlights for you? The things that stood out for you? That's like, oh, that was really cool. And anything that doesn't stick out for you? Because I know this movie wasn't as great as you wanted to be. So, where were the ebbs and flows of this movie for you?
Spider-Man fighting Mysterio. Where they're like tossing stuff at each other, and all of the 4 villains in it as well. So he's got to fight Spider-Man, and like I said, the way that he got introduced was amazing, and those are the 2 things I liked.
Oh, cool. For me, it's the idea like they set up the premise of like of a storyline where it's like you have these elementals. It kind of they give you this really cool premise that you could go along with, and then it ends. The downside for me, which is like it reminds me of the Mandarin, where he's like, you think it's one thing, and then they pull the rug on you, and you're like, no, this is all a MacGuffin. It's not what you think it is. It's kind of, and so it's kind of like you're being robbed of like a potential of villains and a potential of the multiverse. Because I think everybody wants this multiverse. Ever since we heard like Doctor Strange, the multiverse of madness, that title was out by that time this movie was coming out. So we're all thinking, oh my gosh, we're gonna get the first sequence of like the multiverse coming after the fact of Endgame.
Yeah.
You know, because you think,
Cool.
okay, well, it's an aftershock of the reality stone. This rips a hole, whatever. And of
Yeah.
course, none of it's true. We were given like false red herrings. So,
Mhm.
you know, uh, going into this movie, you had all these hypotheses and guesses, and which I think is really cool as a fan because it makes you want to like not get ahead of the game, but like dream up different things, like
Yeah.
ideas. And of course, many times the movie, outperforms your expectations, which is amazing. I kind of love that. And then times like this where it's like, no, we're just we're just playing with you. I can't
Mhm.
swear, but we're just playing with you. And it's like, you get nothing.
Yeah.
What you thought.
No, it's good. That was good.
So
Cool.
so that was kind of like a mixed bag. So that was where I was with this movie.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, well,
Awesome.
with that, we're gonna. Any last words before you go?
No, I can't. I've said all I've said. I think it
Okay.
was a good movie.
Okay, and how can they reach us?
Email, Twitter.
Mhm.
Yeah, email, Twitter, our
And our website.
website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
www.pantheonofm.com. And just
Mhm.
that's a YouTube channel or audio
Yeah.
podcast. Everything's there. And if you get a chance, give us a thumbs up, hit the notification button, or give us a little comment. We'll love to hear from you. By hitting subscribe, it helps us get us out there, and we appreciate all that.
Yeah, we
So,
do.
with that, I am Ray.
And I'm Evy.
We'll talk to you next week.